Okay, welcome to Tanya Outside In. We're in chapter Kaf Gimel, and we're in the third. This is the third installment of Kaf Gimel so far, and we're only about 30% of the way in. But hopefully we can cover some ground now because we did all the hard work to summarize what we learned as quickly as possible, which is no small feat. Is right now the Rebbe is trying to explain to us what it means to be aligned with Ratzon Hashem. All there is God. The last three chapters established that Einod Milvado means there is nothing else other than the Ribono Shel Olam. Now, what does it mean to be aligned with Hashem? There's only Ratzon Hashem divides, so to speak, into two different avodas. Yeah, mitzvahs and learning Torah, which is anyways one Indian. That's called Ratzon Hashem, but there's two basic ways: doing mitzvahs and learning Torah. So the Rebbe is explaining to us now the difference, like kind of mechanically, the mechanics, what's going on when you learn Torah and what's going on when you do mitzvahs. And we're gonna walk away by explaining that there's a deeper closeness to Hashem when we learn Torah over doing mitzvahs. But we'll learn later, not in this chapter, but we'll learn later, quite a lot later, that the milah of doing mitzvahs over learning Torah is his will is fulfilled in a deeper way. So in a sense, it comes out that like learning Torah is more for us, doing mitzvahs is more for him. It's like in a sense, always think of the example of if your dad enjoyed watching you dance. Let's just say, yeah, that would be the inyan of the mitzvah. You actually doing the mitzvah, you having to dance for your dad, yeah. So you've got two things going on. Your dad puts his arm around your shoulder, and he's telling you exactly how he loves it when you do this spin and when you do this jump and when you do this pirouette and etc. etc. And he's telling you all of exactly what he likes, yeah. You feel very close. You feel very special and you feel very close to him. But what about when you're actually doing the dance? See, you have to, there's no actual, you're just dancing. Whether you're dancing in front of him, you might even not know that he's watching you, or he's maybe going to video it and watch it later. It's not the actual feeling. You're going to have to step out of you're going to have to use your mind's eye, so to speak. You're going to have to imagine stuff to create that feeling. Whereas when he's actually telling you about how he loves to see you do this and move and that move, you actually feel close. But when you're dancing, you're just dancing. You could be dancing for anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So you feel closer. It's easier to feel closer to the Ribono Shel Olam when you're learning Torah. If you're learning with the right kavanah, meaning we're being mavakesh from the Ribono Shel Olam what he wants from us, yeah, not just stum, whatever. That's why learning halacha is so choshev. But that's the feeling of that engenders a much closer feeling, a much deeper feeling of closeness. Whereas the mitzvah, that's what he wants. That's really what he wants. But you don't feel the same. It doesn't have the same feeling of closeness because you're just doing an act. Like, you're shaking a lulav and esrog. How different is that? Shalom Chaim. How different is that from, from climbing a tree or from putting salt on your chicken? And when you actually think about it, you need to use your mind. Shalom Chaim. You need to use your mind to, like, now you start thinking, look, I'm shaking a lulav and esrog. This is Ratzon Hashem, but the actual act itself, it's just an act. It's like walking to the shop. It's like it's like folding a newspaper. It's an act. Okay, but he wants that act. Whereas learning Torah, you're actually hearing from him, so to speak, what he wants from you. So learning Torah is a deeper feeling of closeness, but doing mitzvahs is, maybe you could call it a deeper connection. I don't know what you say. I mean, it's the mashal is a good mashal, so you can understand it from the mashal. Chaim, we just said very quickly the difference in learning Torah and doing mitzvahs is like when your father loves to watch you dance. When he puts his arm on your shoulder and he tells you that he loves you doing this move and that move, etc., yeah, that's learning Torah. You feel very close. But when you're actually dancing, you don't particularly feel very close, but that's really what he wants. So that's what we're really getting at right now. The difference in learning to do mitzvah. So we've said that the mitzvah to Hashem is like your body to your soul. Meaning your body is completely nullified to the soul. So when I want to move my hand out, it's not that I send a message through my brain to my hand. Maybe that's what science says, but the way the Tanya explains it is that it's your Ratzon, your Ratzon that is in that fills your entire body, that when you want to move your hand, moves your hand. And you see, Baruch Hashem, we have a baby right now. We have uh, like a 8 month old or something like that. And as an older father now, I'm, 46, yeah. So it's not like it's not our first baby as well. And I'm like looking at him completely different to, I'm a much more mature, I'm a much more professional father, yeah. So I'm not like looking at him like, oh wow, look, he can move his hand now. I'm just seeing like on a much more kind of, I don't know how you say it, a much more kind of analytical level. What you actually see is you're seeing his Ratzon penetrating parts of his body. Like it go at the beginning, he just lies there, can't do anything. Then he starts to kind of work out that he can do this. Then he works out how to sit up. That's his Ratzon getting more comfortable with his goof. That's literally how it looks when you analyze, when you analyze a baby developing, that you'll see that's literally exactly how it is. So the way it goes is that once you're an adult or a child anyway, is that your body is completely nullified to your Ratzon. It's not that your body and your Ratzon are one. There's your body and then there's your Ratzon. But your Ratzon is like your body is transparent, so to speak, to your Ratzon. Meaning I go like that and my hand goes forward, and that's my Ratzon doing it. If somebody gets like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, Rahman al something like that, then their body stops. It's not nullified to their Ratzon anymore. Their body, so to speak, develops its own agenda, and it has its own. It's not doing what the person wants. Yeah. But for a healthy, regular person, you want to move your leg moves. So that's Hashem's relationship to mitzvahs. We don't say that he is his mitzvahs. We say that his mitzvahs are like his body. The mitzvahs are called the Ivrin de Malka, the limbs of the king, which means that you're really, when you're seeing, like, for example, right now, I'm sitting in front of you on the computer, yeah? So I'm seeing Chaim, I'm seeing Yosef, I'm seeing Eliezer, I'm seeing myself. I don't see you, I see your body. You're not your body. You have a body, but the only way I can see you is through your body. If it wasn't for your body, I wouldn't know that you're there. And when a person is dead, Rahman al his body is there, but he's not there. If anyone's ever seen, I remember as a kid, I never saw. Hashem's guarded me from ever seeing any like death or anything like that. But all my friends one day that one of my friends got knocked over and killed probably nearly 30 odd years ago, and my a bunch of my other friends were with him when he got knocked over, and everyone's atheist in England. Where I come from, no one believes in God, literally. Only like no one believes in God. And I remember my friend, this guy, complete atheist, turning around. So when he saw this guy lying dead on the floor, he said he wasn't there. Just he wasn't there. His body was there, but he wasn't there. It was like very interesting to hear such a thing. But that's the idea, is that your body is not you, but I relate to you through your body. So now when we see a mitzvah taking place, it's the exact same idea. You see someone shaking lulav and esrog, that's like seeing God's body. When let's go a step further. Hi, maybe you can answer this, yeah? If you see God's body when you see lulav and esrog, what are you seeing when you're looking at Mount Everest or the Pacific Ocean or just looking down Pico? Things of this world that aren't mitzvah. If you're seeing God's body when you're seeing a mitzvah, what are you seeing when you actually look at the things of this world that aren't mitzvah? This is an advanced Tanya question. If one person might chap, it could be Chaim. It doesn't. He looks like he's blanking. Chaim, you blanking?
I don't know. You see a reference.
You'd see his clothes. If mitzvahs are called his body, then the world is called his clothes. So actually, when you see a lulav and esrog, because if you look at a lulav and esrog, you know, I always laugh like 8 days after Sukkot, yeah? That esrog that set you back like $250 is now worth nothing. It's amazing. It's just amazing how it's just worth nothing. So when you're looking at an esrog, the truth is even on Sukkot, an esrog is not a mitzvah. The mitzvah is the shaking of the esrog. You're seeing his clothing. Anything that you see is God's clothes. All of the whole world is called his clothing. But when I pick up the lulav and esrog and I shake them, it's like me, like you see my hand, like you can't see my hand, yeah, but you can see me moving in my jacket. That's exactly what we're seeing when we're seeing someone doing a mitzvah. And that's why the halacha is, at least by the Balatanya, that when you see someone doing a mitzvah, you should stand up in their presence. No matter who it is. When they're doing a mitzvah, that's mamash halacha l'maisa, lefi the Balatanya, is when you see someone doing a mitzvah, you should stand up. Why? Because you're seeing the Ribbono Shel Olam. Literally, you're seeing the Ribbono Shel Olam. Just like you go like this, yeah, you move your hand like this, so too, when you shake a lulav and esrog on Sukkot, is you're seeing the Ribbono Shel Olam moving. You're seeing his body. You're not seeing him. You're seeing his body, and from his body, you can understand that he's there. Yeah. So now Torah is different, and that's what we're going to learn about now. Torah is not called Hashem's body. By Torah, we say Hashem and his body. We say by mitzvahs we call them the Ivrin de Malka, the limbs of the king. By Torah, we call it. We say they're one. Unlike the mitzvahs that are his limbs, the Torah and him are one. By him, the Torah and him are one. So what that's referring to basically is what becomes enclosed in the shaking of the lulav and esrog. What is, so to speak, not what's moving it. Your energy is moving the lulav and esrog, yeah. But what we got a bunch of different criteria for Lulav Nesog, yeah? They have to be so big, they have to be arranged in this way, they have to be bound like this, etc. Yeah? That's the halachas, which is the Torah. So to speak, the Torah is the panemius, the Torah is the panemius of the Maisa Mitzvah. Because how else do you know what are you doing when you're doing a mitzvah? What's happening is the halachas of the Arba Minim are becoming enclosed in the actual act of the mitzvah. And that really is the Ribono Shel Olam. It's him and his Torah is one. Now, the relationship is your relationship to your personality. So you have clothes. Clothes are just not you at all. Yeah, they're just something else. You're in your clothes, but there's something else. That's the world, so to
So
speak.
what's the point? What's the point of the world? Hashem's clothes. Does it show us like when people wear clothes, you can kind of tell their style, you could tell a little bit about them. Is that the point of the mountains, the ocean, the animals?
The
Like
point
what's the world?
the point of the clothes is that he's enclosed within them. The reason why there's a world is because we need to do Torah mitzvahs. So the reason why there's the reason, I mean, an easy thing to understand is the reason why there's cows is because there's the mitzvah of tefillin and Sudas Yom Tov and Shabbos, meaning that all of the whole, it's not that the world was created and then Hashem said, well, look, we've got cows, so let's have tefillin. It's there's a mitzvah, a ruchnias mitzvah of tefillin that needed cows, it needed leather to express itself in this world, so therefore cows exist. So the clothes are actually, although the clothes are something separate from him, yeah, they are actually, he can't, there wouldn't be any mitzvahs without his clothes. You couldn't actually do the mitzvahs without his clothes. You couldn't have a relationship with the Ribono Shel Olam without this world. That's by laser. That's what it means that there's the prosdor of this world is a prosdor to Olam to the Metrachlin. Yeah, not that it's just like the way they say it, it's just this like it's just fair this world, yeah. It's not, it's the only way to get to a Ribono Shel Olam is through this world, meaning you wouldn't be able to do his Ratzon, his mitzvahs without this world. So that's the so now I have to understand why there's mountains and sky and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that are clear, like why there's a sun and a moon, and but why there's mountains and this and that, and why there's like seahorses. I don't know. You have to, but they do exist in context of Torah and mitzvahs. But this is really the most important point to understand, yeah, is that you've got the world, which is his clothing, you've got the mitzvah, which is his body, so to speak, and then you've got the Torah, which is his personality. And his personality becomes enclosed in his body, and his body becomes enclosed in the clothes. And where's he? He's enclosed in the personality. So there's four layers. The most external layer is, and it's exactly the same in you. Think about yourself. The most external layer of you is your clothing. Yeah. Now the next layer, the next external level to you is your body, which is now really close to you. That's really, really close. Yeah. But what's even closer to you than your body is your personality. Now, again, your personality is not you. You are one with your personality, but it's not you. As you see, you've got kids, you see your kids change, their personalities change, your personality changes. It's not you. It's much closer to you than your body. Yeah. And then there's you. That's in the personality. That is there's nothing to talk about there. That's too sacred to talk about. There's just nothing to talk about. There's no thing to talk about. But the personality, that's the Torah. That's Hashem's Torah. So that's the closest thing to him, to the point where it says that he and his Torah is mamash one. And it's the personality that's enclosed within the body. So it's the Torah that's enclosed within the mitzvah. So now let's jump into the text. Ah, we're on page 56, two-thirds of the way down. First one line is Ruck. Okay. Ach hamachshava v'hahihu b'divrei Torah. So now we spoke previously about mitzvahs. Now the thinking and the two different kinds of thinking. Machshava is a more kavanadika thinking, and hihu is more like like kind of thinking that is generated by itself. So machshava v'hihu b'divrei Torah shebemoyach, that's in the mind, v'koach hadibur b'divrei Torah shebepeh, and the ability to speak Torah, yeah, the skill, the talent to speak Torah that's in the mouth. Shem levushim pnimiyim shel nefesh lakis. These are the inner garments of the nefesh lakis. We know there's three garments: thought, speech, and action. And the just like garments, you have an undershirt, you have a regular shirt, you have your jacket. Yeah, so too, thought is the one closest to your body, to the soul. Speech is a little bit further out, and action is the furthest away. So speech and thought are called the levushim panemium shel nefesh lakis. They're the inner garments. V'koshke nefesh lakis atzma, and the actual nefesh itself that's enclosed within those abilities. Hamelubeshes behem, that is enclosed within them. Kulam yuchadim mamash beyichad gamu baratzna elyoin v'lo makav levad. They are absolutely enmeshed with the with Hashem, with the Ratzna Elyon, and they're not just a chariot. The body is a chariot, yeah, like we said. The body is a vehicle for your Ratzon. But now we've got an amazing analogy, an amazing moshel for this that I think the Balatanya would have mamash loved if it was around by him. Is Lazy with me? Listen to this. This is one of the most important mashalim that I know of to help you understand this relationship with Torah and the Jew. Is that a computer is computers work on a binary code, yeah? Meaning they go by it's all ones and zeros. Right now I'm looking at a picture of you and me and together, yeah? And what that is a series of on and off switches, like billions and billions of them. But that's what computers are. They are, you know how binary code works? It's like if a switch, I'm going to make it up, but it's something like this. You've got 1 and 0. So 1 or 0 is 0, 1 is 1. Then when you have two switches now, I'm making it up, it's something like this. 1 up and then 0, that's 2. 1 1 is 3. 0 0 is 4. Yeah, however it goes. So using just on-off switches, you encode all information. You with me? All information is just a series of 1 or 0, which it means a switch. It's actually like a physical switch, an on-off switch, yeah? So now, when you're looking at a picture on the screen that's not moving, let's say you're looking at a picture of a tree, yeah? In truth, that is a bunch of on-off switches. Like billions and billions of on-off switches, but literally you can imagine it somewhere. There is like a room with endless switches, and when you switch them in a certain configuration, this one's up, this one's down, this one's down, this one's up, the whole thing, in exactly that way, you end up with a beautiful picture of a tree. Now, what's the relationship between those switches and the image on the screen? You don't need to answer this. Just think about this. Keep it in your mind. Just enjoy the thought. Yeah. When I flick one of the switches, the image changes. The switches and the image are mamash the same thing. It's just over here, the switches express themselves as a tree, And over here, you could say the tree expresses itself in this configuration of switches. So what's more real, the tree or the switches? Well, when the switches go through all the electricity and the transistors and transformers and all that stuff, it looks like a tree. But the tree looks like the switches. You're really seeing the same thing in two different realms of existence. You with me? So listen to this. We'll finish on this, but this is an Moiradika meditation. When you're learning Torah, your mind configures like the switches that make the picture of the tree. You can't, when you're learning Torah, that means your mind is actually configuring in a certain way. That means your mind becomes Torah. Your mind becomes Torah. Just like the relationship between the tree, the picture of the tree, and the series of switches. It's like a trippy thing to think about. It's like, well, is it switches or is it a tree? Is it a picture of a tree or is it switches? It's just the same thing in two different realms of two different strata of existence. So too, when you're learning Torah, so to speak, the Torah is the big picture of the tree, and now your mind ends up configuring itself like that. That's the relationship that's the intimacy of the bond when you're learning Torah with Ribbono Shel Olam. You actually become one with him. Him and his Torah is one, and your mind has become Torahic. So you, so to speak, have become mamash Torahic. Unlike doing a mitzvah. When you're doing a mitzvah, you didn't become Torahic. You've become a vessel that's holding Hashem's Ratzon. But you didn't merge with the Ratzon. That's what this chapter is trying to tell us. There's two levels here. There's the level of being a kli, a vessel, a genderless, holy vessel, where you're like this and the divine will goes inside you. That means there's you and the will. Just like the mitzvah there's you doing the mitzvah. But with Torah, it's not just that you're a vessel that receives the light. You and the light actually merge as one. You become one mamash. So let's just finish off here. V'lo ma'kava levad. He says, be yichud in mamash. Be yichud gamo. This is when you're learning Torah. You end up in a yichud gamo, an utter oneness, b'ratzon elyon with Hashem's ratzon, v'lo ma'kava levad, and not just a chariot, not just a kli. Ki ratzon elyon hu hadavar halacha atzma, that the actual ratzon is the actual halacha. Shemahahu medaber bo, that he is thinking about or speaking. That all of the halachas are actually they are the drawing down, they are the Ratzon Elyon as it comes down into this world. Because it went up in his mind that this thing is it's mutter, it's kosher, it's exempt, it's pure, not pure. Zakai, has it Zakai? Not pure. Zakai. Innocent, whatever. Ola Hefech. V'chein kol tzirufei oisius Tanakh, and that also goes with all of the different combinations of the letters of Tanakh. Heinam shachas v'tzonim v'chachmasa miyuchedes b'ein so baruch hu, that are completely bound up with the Ratzon Elyon of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, but Tachlis HaYichud, Shu HaYodea V'Hu HaMada V'Yodea, because he is the three different levels. He is the one that knows the ability to know and what is known. We'll talk about that another time. וזה שעמדו, ירייסה וקודשא בכל אחד, ולא איבן דמאו כל אחד כפיקודין. And that's the final line here, which is very important, is that why? Because Hashem and his Torah is one, unlike the mitzvahs that are called the limbs of the king. Okay, so in this chapter, until now, we've just explained the milah of limud Torah over doing mitzvahs, but you'll see the Rebbe oscillates between which ones are more choshev, and the final, the final, like, the final word of the sefer is that mitzvahs are what it's all about. And but on the journey there, he gives you a lot of bonuses of Torah as well. So it's a good conversation to have. It's a good argument to have. A much better argument to have than if you think like Trump's good guy or not, is to argue what's more choshev, doing mitzvahs or learning Torah. That's a great argument. Okay, Chevre, should be zoicha to all good things.
Amen. Shkach.
Okay, my pleasure. Chazak.